Welcome, FIFA fans, and I may have to christen this FIFA Friday. Might be nice to do more Friday night streams or Friday evening streams featuring FIFA. You guys have requested FIFA 17 last week, and I thought to myself, you know what, that's a good shout, let's give it a try. One of the often overlooked ones in FIFA history. It's a significant one because, of course, it's the first time they moved over to the Frostbite engine. It's quite strange that they did so soon after the Ignite engine had only been in circulation for 2.5 years. FIFA 14 and then the revamp in 15, which we explored last week, and then of course FIFA 16, which is kind of considered to be one of the best FIFA games ever made. And it seems they thought, well, let's start over with Frostbite. So here we are. We'll explore this today. Slightly earlier stream than usual as well. Bear with me one moment. Give it that mouse cursor. Let me know if you have any troubles hearing me. Let me know if there's any issues with the picture quality. And this will be experimental because I don't often do early streams. It's usually 7 at the earliest, 10 at the latest. I will start one. So I'm still feeling things out to see when you guys are best available. I know it might be a little inconvenient this time of the day. Most of you are coming home from college, from uni, from work, waking up even if you're a bum like me. But nonetheless, I'm sure you'll find me. Now this guy on the left, I'm not sure who he is meant to be. He's faceless. He has a generic face. We're going to start with our cover star, Marco Reus's Borussia Dortmund. He's pretty much part of the furniture now in Dortmund. Marco Reus still there. Pierre-Patrick Aubameyang, I think this was his swan song season. He joins Arsenal just afterwards. Am I correct? Or am I wrong? It was probably Moussa Dembele we could see there on the kickoff hub. I think Yuri Sahin's still there, as is Guerrero. However, remember Marc Bartra went there and had a career resurgence after leaving Barcelona, pretty much from the shadows. Lucas Piszczek is here. Castro was the man of the hour for a couple of years. And even Shinji Kagawa is on this bench. We can't see any of the Bayern Munich lineup. We'll check that out in just a few moments. Anyway, David of Portugal is here with us, as is Gregorio Grindato. Let me start again. Gregorio Grindato. It's nice to meet you. I'm sure you've seen. I'm sure you've been on a couple of our streams, Gregorio. So it's good to see you. I'm going to start off on professional because I haven't played this game for a few months. I know that's probably shorter than what most of you have had with this title, but the thing is, with me, I dip in and out of all kinds of different football games very often. And the beauty of doing so is that they continue to remain fresh when you do so. It's a whole new experience because games are designed to be so different from year to year. We're at Signal Iduna Park. It's beautifully reconstructed here in the Frostbite engine. One thing I will give Frostbite credit for is the lighting and the rendering effects. They breathed new light, and this was when they were still fairly realistic as well. I think if you fast forward to FIFA 23 now, it's quite cartoony and bright and vibrant, and it's a bit jarring. But I think here the secret is in the subtlety. I am just going to quickly mute the music. Yes, as I was saying, I think the secret is in the subtlety of the lighting. Here on FIFA 23, they oversaturate a lot, and a lot of the player models are more exaggerated versions of themselves, especially the faces, whereas here they still went for a realistic tone, and it can be quite immersive at times. There seems to be maybe a higher resolution on some of the faces. Around about this time, they started embracing 4K resolution with FIFA 17 and then 18. And of course, in hindsight, when you're playing on a PC, you can downsample, which brings out even more details you never normally saw at launch. I'm curious how many of you were a fan of FIFA 17, how many of you were fond of it. Jaden149, hi, are you doing the UEFA Champions League this year? I am planning on doing so. Normally I would do the knockout stages on PES 21, but I'm wondering if you guys are a little fatigued with PES 21. Do you want to see me do it in a different game? Maybe PES 6 with the Firebird patch, maybe on FIFA 23 with the Realism mod, maybe even on FIFA 16 with the Infinity mod. I'll leave that to you. You guys maybe have a nomination for something a little different. Dortmund kick off here in the sunshine and the shade of the Signal Iduna Park. And there's a lot to discuss about the Frostbite engine. So when they ported FIFA 17 to Frostbite, it was one of many it was one of many EA projects. Lewandowski, I'm in a quick tease of Berkey from range. It was one of many EA games and even EA Sports games that they decided to universally develop on the same engine. They wanted cohesiveness and consistency across all of the EA brands. And they probably felt short term it would be difficult, long term it would be long term it would be beneficial if everybody is getting used to using the same tools and working on the same engine. The difficulty came with Frostbite being an engine that was primarily designed for Battlefield and maybe another EA game. I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head. But the point is that it was designed for the Battlefield games and designed for, single player, third person and first person shooters. And you had a certain cadence when it came to developing games in that fashion. So it's all well and good developing with just a player controlling one avatar in mind and rendering a gun on the screen and rendering buildings and bullet damage and other kind of environmental effects. There was no intention for this engine to, accommodate 22 players on the football field and ball physics and player positioning, supporters, so on and so forth. So when you try to force various sports games to use this engine, it inevitably comes with lots of hiccups and lots of issues. So maybe we can pick out some of those issues as we play here tonight on the stream. Maybe we can also give praise to some of the benefits of the Frostbite engine too. This is what's going to be interesting. I didn't give it too much thought until recently once I started researching Frostbite. As Aubameyang opens up the play looking for Dembele on the right hand side. Dembele, faceless, not quite famous yet either. It was Barcelona bound just a couple of years later after FIFA 17. And now he's pretty much one of the French All-Stars. Had a fantastic World Cup. Has found himself in a fair share of controversy and, immature hot waters. Aubameyang takes the bump. Castro to Marco Reus. Well, anyway, that was a brief history lesson on the Frostbite engine. Dembele skipping past. That's Hummels, former Dortmund player as well. Here's Durm. Oh, and he's found Aubameyang! And he's drilled it into the bottom corner. Oh, he's offside. Well, it won't count, but surely it's nothing but a dress rehearsal for the future Arsenal and Chelsea mercenary. He's a London boy, apparently. Pierre-Patrick Aubameyang. Now, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his second name, but hey, I found your PES 6 tournaments. Where did you find the broadcast camera mod? Well, for the PES 6 games, the camera mods are simple. All you have to do is enter your kit server. There should be a file called camera. It's just simply an ini file, or you can open it with Notepad. And you just change the value. Oh, I believe that was Thomas Müller. The Raumdalter. Couldn't keep the shot low. Nice animation there. The ball was too close to his body, and he basically has to overcompensate with the rest of his kinetic energy to scoop something out of the ball, and and surprisingly it backfired. So anyway, I'm sorry. Enter your kit server folder. There should be a notepad file. It's an ini, and it's called camera. And in there should be a unit that should start on something like 1200. If you lower this, the lower you enter the value, the closer the camera will be on all of the default cameras on PES 6. Normal close, normal medium, normal wide, zoom. Those camera angles will be affected by that value. So check that out. It should be camera ini, and you merely alter the zoom amount. It's as simple as that. However, my value, I use 800. So I think the default is 1200. My value is 800. So you can try that, and maybe you can experiment with other values and see if you can find something even more aesthetically pleasing. Here's Marco Reus. He's cutting aside. He's trying to get away from Arjen Robben. Bamiyang, Sahin. It's Castro. Belted with the driven pass to Durham. Gets in a high cross looking for Aubameyang at the far post. Rafinha clears up, allows Bayern Munich to catch their breath. It's a corner kick to the yellows and blacks. An earlier shot of Thomas Muller's shot. Gregorio, will you do a video of PES 2021 crack for PC? Well, I don't think it's necessary because there's plenty of videos already existing on YouTube. You should be able to find what you need as Ulrich has come out for that. Bartra bumps into a sea of red bodies. Castro. Zayn. Bartra goes all the way back to Guerrero. It's more imperative that Dortmund retain possession here rather than rushing the ball back into the penalty area. Bartra. Castro. Got Piszczek out wide. No, it's Durham actually. Oh, and Ulrich again flies for the ball and it's cancelled out again. The volley on the rebound. Exciting start here from Borussia Dortmund. Almost a golden era for them, wasn't it? Just much like Ajax, would churn out talent one after the other, and that was a joke that Dortmund were the Bayern Munich Academy. It seemed that every Borussia Dortmund player that would break out and display an array of promising talent would, no time wasted, would be swooped up by Bayern Munich. The game is very nice to control so far too. A good sense of inertia and weight. I mean, the animations aren't too tricky. Reus goes along the floor into the middle of Ulrich. It's half time already. 6 minutes, maybe too short here. So, Francisco, what is Frostbite? Well, just in case you missed the earlier overview, Frostbite was the name of the engine that EA used to develop many of its games. It started with Battlefield, and then they ported over Frostbite to, I think it was one of their golf games. I can't remember the name. But there was a golf title. That was the first sports game to encompass the Frostbite engine. And then not long after that, you had the NHL games, the FIFA games, and the Madden games would adopt Frostbite. So yes, Frostbite was simply the name of the engine used for the game. We'll switch sides to the Bavarians, Bayern Munich. Munich is a popular team on these live streams. A lot of you request a Munich fixture more often than I can even blink. Ramajane Torres, I'm sorry if I butcher that first name. Hello to you, man. How was your Friday? Finally, it's the end of the week. I hope you all have some fun plans. Don't be shy. Feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll react to them below and give my opinion on what you've got planned. Even if it's nothing but gaming, eating, drinking, dating, whatever. Throw your name in the hat. I want to hear what you're up to. want to get to know you guys and understand what makes you all tick. As Derm beating like a clock down the right-hand side, and Olderijk gets a very strong and confident hand to that one. Muller is knocked onto Robin. As I say, the Frostbite animations are still pretty good. Not as fluid as they are on Ignite. And the reason why I say that is that when you... The simplest way to describe it is that when you pass to a player and you get the ball under control, there's this weird sort of hesitation as the players try to bring the ball into touch. There's almost like this weird finding their feet sensation. It's like the ball always ends up underneath the player rather than, you know, taken into touch and conveniently in front of the player. So there's this weird little adjustment which was introduced as a consequence of porting to Frostbite. It's not that bad, and I think FIFA 23 is worse at doing this. I will do a FIFA 23 stream next week as I want to discuss that and give my thoughts in real time. Dembele was caught by surprise by that pass to himself. But the difference between the two games, FIFA 17 and FIFA 23, is night and day. Especially in regards to the fluidity and the lack of skating on this game too. It's just so pleasant to play a game where you pass to a player and you kind of know, other than the little fairy stepping I mentioned earlier, it's nice to pass a ball to a player and you know the ball isn't going to do some sort of weird teleporting and slingshotting between the players' feet, and the players aren't going to, you know, break their limbs to get the ball in convenient positions, as Muller had 2 attempts for the price of 1 against Berkey. And you know, it's easy to bash FIFA 23, and I don't want to be that guy who is like, oh, it's a bad game. Why? Oh, it just is. Oh, well, that settles that argument. No, I do like to try and articulate my opinions on FIFA 23, its flaws and its strengths. And I do like it from time to time, but I just have to be honest, I don't enjoy it as much as some other football games, and it's because there's elements of it that just have nothing to do with actual football. And it's quite clear it is what it is. It's the most casual football game I've ever played. It's very, very arcadey and stripped down. It's designed to be as accessible as possible to people who have never played a football game, and they want everyone and your grandparents to be able to experience FIFA, so you can potentially get addicted and spend money on the game and stay in the game. That's why. If the game has a learning curve, then new players won't want to stay. And if they don't want to stay, then they won't spend money! Oh, and Thomas Muller seems to be in all the unfortunate positions. The ball just catches him by surprise. Vidal created a bit of a scare for Berkey there. Good header from the Chilean drawing book. It's covered in ink. Castro. He finds Christian Pulisic in slightly happier years as well. It seems like a lot of these young players, they go to Germany as well. It's almost like some kind of excursion. They go to Germany and they make a name for themselves. They're in very supportive environments. And then they gain momentum and a reputation, and then they leave to the bigger, you know, the bigger, more unreasonably demanding clubs of Europe, such as Chelsea and Real Madrid, and it's just never the same, is it? I think Toni Kroos is probably the best example of a German export that's gone to somewhere other than Germany and has been an incredible success. Across from Rouse here. Hummels is dead. Mats Hummels, he is known for being injury prone. Clutches the glass knee. So we have a quick catch up with the comments. Oh damn it, my beer's spilt everywhere. Oh well, we'll have to suffer until the end of the game. ZH568 got there in the end. FIFA 17 was the last realistic FIFA game. Oh my god, as Mats Hummels gets distracted by reading the comment. That's my bad. Good recovery from Ulreich. No Manuel Neuer, he must be nursing an injury of some kind. Right, ZH568. FIFA 17 was the last realistic FIFA game. Even though ball physics are crazy at times, it's still not as bad as the ones that came after it. I think again you've touched upon what I just said. I don't think this game is anywhere near as bad as what people have fun alluding to. As Kimmich is trying to arrange some space. Here's Muller, the Raumdauter. Iron Robin cuts inside. It's Robin pushed away by Socrates. Ribery, Hummels. I'm sorry, ZH. I will continue with your thought in just a moment. Let me just figure out what is going on here for Munich. Alaba, Kimmich, Muller. Well read by Socrates. 10 minutes left of the game. I'm going to have to very quickly make a change here. Now, I do hope Lewandowski is on the bench because he's not at Dortmund. No, he's not on the bench. See, this is the problem that you get with squad updates on these FIFA games, is they're just wacky. Well, anyway, we'll bring on Kingsley Coman. Yeah, they're just wacky. The problem you had with the squad updates every week was that if you was playing online seasons with the default teams, and if you didn't exit and go to your squad and change it, no, that's Lewandowski. Why wasn't he not in my reserves? So bizarre. If you were playing online seasons and then you didn't go back and manually set up your subs bench, you was left to what EA would choose, and they would never choose like the best players in the squad, period. It will always be who played the week before. So if Lewandowski had food poisoning for 1 week, but played 99% of the other games of the season, they'll just leave him out for that week. What a goal! Who was that? Was that Castro? It was indeed. It's a hell of a hit. I did fear we were going to go our first game on the stream of FIFA 17 with a goalless affair, but Castro has, spared our blushes. What a hit this was too. I'm not concentrating as much as I should because obviously I'm deep in thought, making comments about this game in the time period. But yeah, just to finish my earlier thoughts, if you was playing online seasons and relying on the EA squads, they weren't the most primary setups for some strange reason. I think they've improved them a little bit on FIFA 23, where even your reserves would be your strongest players available to you. However, I do remember playing as Juventus last week, and Pogba's like relegated all the way to the reserves. So yes, ZH568. I don't think the ball physics are terribly crazy on this game. Although one remark I will make about the ball, and I do hesitantly say this because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But the ball is pretty small. It's unusually small compared to the player's feet and bodies. And once you notice it, it's quite hard to forget about it. Referee! Oh, I thought you blew the whistle. Just had a little stutter there. Who shall we play as next anyway? In any event, we do have to start planning for the next fixture on the stream, surely. He was the man who set Mario Götze up for the famous World Cup winning goal. Now, I wonder, is that a corner or did it take the final touch off of Marco Reus? No, it is a corner for Borussia Dortmund. Fade loves the stream. Fade, I love you. I love the team, and you're in it. Brad Valad, FIFA 17 was a decent game. Really is. It does hold up very well, especially visually. I think even here you can see the player models do look and feel quite solid. The faces are respectable and realistic. The lighting is beautiful. And you have to cast your mind back to 2016 when this came out. The PS4 still felt the PS4 still felt very, very new and exciting, and it felt like this is futuristic gaming, next gen, pure, powerful game engines and graphics. And FIFA 17 was the best looking football game out there at the time. And it was very, very exciting to have this in your hand back then. And any kind of shortcomings you had with fluidity issues, you kind of waved off and allowed, because it was a new game and you was just grateful to have something that felt like a modern football game. Now, shall we dabble in the Premier League? Someone mentions Martial. Shall we have a quick look at Manchester United? Now, something else I will point out as well. And with the United Spurs, it'll be interesting to play as the Spurs team from 2017 at some point. You can see these finishing numbers too. Man United finished 6th that season. Spurs flew all the way up to 2nd. These are the last finishing positions of these teams in 2017. They would update it every week until they closed the servers. So yes, we went up to 6th and 2nd place for Spurs and Manchester United. Wayne Rooney is still here, which will be quite fun. Marcus Rashford was emerging as a young prodigy. Paul Pogba just joined. His life was never the same once he moved to Manchester. Bailey is on the bench. He probably doesn't have a face. Fellaini, there was a period where they played him up front. It's crazy. Juan Mata is on the field, as is Jesse Lingard. But now that I have a head start, I am going to bring on Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We don't need both Carrick and Fellaini, so we'll swap a holding midfielder out. Sergio Romero, you may remember he stopped by in Manchester for a cup of coffee. Other than that, I think it doesn't get much stronger than this for Manchester United in the transitional Moyes era. And we'll have a look at Tottenham once we touch down on the field with your second game of the FIFA 17 live stream. Pedro Martins, it's had a nice balance between realism and modern graphics. Well said, my friend. Monkey Detects. First patch of FIFA 23 broke the game as usual. Yes, every time. You have the playable beta that gets sent out to certain people, and everybody remarks, wow, this feels really, really realistic. This has potential. And over time, they turn the cogs, speed things up, make things make less sense, and you end up with the Blitzball Rocket League impersonation we have in current day. Rittick Grayson, bro, suggest the best patch for PES 6 and PES 12 for the original season, 05-06 or the 11-12 season. Well, for PES 6, if you want the original season, say no more. Go for the original season patch. I will demonstrate this in a video that's coming next week as well. I am going to do the best PES 6 patches in video form next week, so please keep an eye out for that. For PES 2012, I can't overlook the PES Edits patch for that season. As a special bonus, maybe even go for the Euro 2012 patch as well, even though it is strictly Euro 2012. Look how young Harry Kane looks there. And Pochettino, currently at Tottenham as well. Oh, it's Jose Mourinho. I thought it was David Moyes in this period. Now also, FIFA 17, it marks the first game since World Cup 2014, where we would now see managers on the touchline and managers in cutscenes. And they also reintroduced the quick substitutions. We didn't see that since World Cup 06, I believe. I don't think it made it into World Cup 2014. However, slap me in the face and, you know, sodomize me if I'm wrong. Pedro Martins. Agree with you about the ball, and yeah, at that time I didn't realise that until someone pointed it out in a video. Then you can't unsee. Well, I told you so. Dele Alli and Harry Kane, who had such an exciting future at the England national team too. They will start for Tottenham as well. Eric Dyer also was a regular mainstay in that England lineup. Until about recently, he did go to the World Cup, although barely warmed up on the touchline during those 5 games England played in. Son tangling with Antonio Valencia. It's back to Herrera. Pogba. I think at this time may have been the most expensive transfer. I think Gareth Bale preceded that, and I think Neymar this season. I think between Pogba and Neymar, I think they were the 2 most expensive transfers. Although I think Neymar is 2017, not 2016. Well, sorry, 2018 and not 2017. You have to get used to my revisionist number history, but you get the sentiment. Here's Damian. Rashford picks out Martial in the centre. And before Kylian Mbappe was the breakout French striker and the inevitable doppelganger of Thierry Henry, it was Anthony Martial, who I think he probably prematurely went to Manchester United, if you ask me. He's pretty much made a name for himself and is slowly hitting his peak, but he's just gone to the wrong team, in my opinion. He had a good period at Seville. Rooney! Peels it wide. Couple of good years left in him for the balding veteran Wayne Rooney, before having an exhibition spell in the United States. Now, I can't remember what team it was he went on to play for in USA. Somebody could probably correct me in the comments. Here is Son. Genevieve Cabral has nominated Juventus Barcelona. Now, there's no Champions League yet on this game. That comes in FIFA 19. But we can improvise. We'll just do a pan-European fixture between Juve and Barca. Oh, and De Gea's missed it, and Pogba couldn't get there either, and the ball just flung off the shoulder of Christian Eriksen. David of Portugal, you mean 0607. Are we talking about the PES 6 stuff here? Oh, De Gea, that's an incredible skill, catching the ball with your back turned to the cross. Pogba. Rooney. Herrera. Henrik Mkhitaryan. Now Valencia takes it into touch. Chipped up from Valencia. Herrera didn't catch everything on the volley. Very convenient save for Hugo Lloris. Here's Herrera. Pogba. Andrea Pirlo has credited Paul Pogba as one of his favourite players. Oh, and that made De Gea work. Corner kick to Spurs. Nice lighting on the kits as well. I mean, this is what I mean about Frostbite. Visually, you can't fault it. I don't think they did any wrong visually with Frostbite. You see the nice reflections on those raised parts of David De Gea's goalkeeper kit, the slight padding. Eriksen goes for the near post for the corner. It's cut out by Dali Blind. Still hanging on to the long hair, it seems. Son. Just couldn't bring the ball under control as United made break. Mkhitaryan runs into Ben Davies. Here's Moussa Dembele. Dele Alli. Christian Eriksen. He swapped sides. It's another underwhelming cross that's rescued by David De Gea. Pogba. Anthony Martial. Rashford. Rooney couldn't rescue the ball. very interesting to imagine Tottenham Hotspur just 2 years from now. If you could pick any team in Europe that would headline the Champions League final, probably wouldn't be Spurs, but well, they did get there. Bermude 10, is there any new patch for FIFA 20? Well, now you're asking, you're being oddly specific, but there wasn't really much in the way of support for some of those more recent FIFA games. The FIFA Infinity patch is probably your best shout. They did make a patch every year for every FIFA. So I would probably nominate that one. I think the Realism mod, I'm just going to switch this light on, this lamp. I think the Realism mod was probably the first, I think it debuted on FIFA 20, I think. I wasn't really playing FIFA as much around this period. Around about that time, there was a little bit of that exasperative period for football games where there's the transition to selling out and just focusing on online. By then we got eFootball 2020, which was probably the last simulative football game. Mkhitaryan and Antonio Valencia picks the ball up on the right flank and of course too short by Son. So yes, I think either the Realism mod for FIFA 20 or the Infinity patch for FIFA 20 is probably your best shouts. Kane tried to embarrass Blind there. So I'm beginning to notice it's not quite as responsive when you try and turn. So there's elements of when you pass the ball to a player and they sort of stay fused facing the direction they've received the ball in. So it gets a bit tedious trying to turn and pass. You know what you want to do. And there's a very rigid PES 6 style freezing going on there. Rooney holding the ball up, waiting for somebody to give him something to hit. Rashford. Damian. Simi Marshall cuts inside for a cross. It's blocked. Damian. Pogba from range. Oh, it's stuck in off the post. And Paul Pogba has justified the 90 million price tag on him. I pulled a number out of my rectum, but it doesn't matter. He was very, very expensive. And it's a small bright spot, a couple of green blades of grass in an otherwise doomy period for his spell at Manchester United. And even Jose Mourinho has to reluctantly admire the brilliance of this hit. Here's what Hugo Lloris saw. I think he was napping. United didn't really give him anything to work for up until now, so he pretty much, zoned out and started fantasizing about his upcoming World Cup win in 1 year's time. 1-0 to Manchester United. Verchata says this is his favourite FIFA gameplay-wise. It was perfect in his opinion. Very high praise thrown on FIFA 17. And as we often look back on these slightly older FIFA games on these streams, Rooney trying to bring the ball under control, read by Vertonghen. Wanyama releases Dembele, and now the tempo of the game has been turned up a couple of notches. Dembele shoved away by Bailey. Mohamed Isbar, FIFA 17 is a service for Man United fans, I think, because they have a good squad depth, youngster and veterans, many good signings, have many real faces updated. Swung in by Son, read by Blind. Pressure remains on. Here's Kyle Walker. Very fast back then, still incredibly pacey given his age. He's about 32 years old now, Kyle Walker. A favourite of Gareth Southgate's for sure. Valencia. Mkhitaryan. Rooney. Ander Herrera. It's backwards to Wayne Rooney. Rooney. It's going to be Martial. Anthony Martial! Oh my God! It's a shot that travelled at the speed of light. I thought it went through the net. Even on a not so good left foot. Look how close this is. It was actually going wider and it swerved back to near target status. Few more minutes left until half time, and then we swap sides and players for Spurs. Dele Alli to Wanyama. Harry Kane being kept out of the game. Blind gets tangled up with Wanyama. Searching for Damian on the left hand side. But Boss is still playing this game. He uploaded some of his goals on his channel, so feel free to go over to the Boss's channel and supplement some of his FIFA money shots. Oh, it's a deflection. It's forced De Gea to contemplate forfeiting a goal here, but Christian Eriksen clutching the thin air. Stopped, if not for the toe of Bailey. Corner kick to Spurs. And surely the last one of the half. Eriksen played in. And is captured by David De Gea at the near post. Now, one thing I don't like about FIFA is that when you catch the ball with a keeper, it takes so long for your team to move up the pitch and break out. They just dither and they hover around and they won't move away from your penalty area. So, and I don't know whether it's some sort of anti-counter-attack method employed by EA. But it's one of those things that a real goalkeeper would be bursting blood vessels at his defenders to say, spread out, give me something to throw at. But in the world of FIFA, keepers aren't allowed to throw out. Keepers aren't allowed to throw out to a defender after catching the ball, but the keepers are also indestructible in crosses. So the guy with the interesting characters in his name, he says, "You can call me George. What is this Frostbite technology, and is this still on after so many updates from EA?" Yeah, so Rooney, oh my God, I took my eyes off the ball and straight from kickoff. Kickoff bug still remains as well. It was a problem with any of the PS3 FIFAs onwards, but it was pronounced more so than ever, I think, once they went to Frostbite, where your team is just frozen from kickoff. You cannot get anywhere near any of the ball carriers from kickoff until you intercept the ball. This weird disability stuff, you know, where it immobilizes your team. And even the comms. I mean, take a look at this. Look how easy it is for me to dribble deep into their... Well, actually, I spoke too soon because Dele Alli is such a crap passer. See, now the teams will be reset and they will now be able to press and chase the ball appropriately. But usually, straight from kickoff, there's an issue. And speaking of issues, Kane may provide one for Spurs, but it was Bailey who was in the way. Yeah, once the opposition touches the ball for the first time, they're then allowed to press normally. But usually there's this invincibility to the team that's just conceded, and they're allowed to embark on the opposition penalty area as much as they like. Ali, Son, no overlap from Davies because he's a coward. Down the line to the Korean legend, Dele Alli. Oh, and the referee got in the way. An interception from the ref. It was a pass that had Harry Kane's name all over it. Pogba to Herrera. Henrik Mkhitaryan. Given a head start over Davies. It's away by Alderweireld. Mkhitaryan again. Take two. And this time it's punched by the Frenchman. Eriksen. Wanyama. Now Moussa Dembele. Can Spurs enjoy just a few moments of respite on the ball? Not for long as Bailey Continues the burial of Spurs. Alderweireld again. Dembele. Now Wanyama, and Spurs can hopefully catch their breath a little. It's not the best pass locking either. We are playing on assisted passing here today. And there's a couple of things where I'm thinking, God, I just want to do a very, very reasonable pass here. And it just seems like on every occasion it's got to be, you know, literally to the player's feet, even though there's someone standing in the way. Sometimes you want to pass to the left or the right of a player. PS 2011 was very good at this. It's even demonstrated in their gameplay trailer that they freed up the nuances of passing, where if you wanted to, you don't have to pass directly to a player's feet. You don't have to resort to doing a through pass either, to be a little looser with your intentions. First time from Ericsson. It's too high for Dele Alli. But he's still got the ball. Dele Alli wrestled back by Valencia. Good composure shown by the Colombian. Davies. Alderweireld. Spurs yet to get, let alone a single shot on goal, let alone a goal back. Ericsson is found. Dembele and De Gea. He bails. Well, I think he read Dembele's bluff. Walker. Dembele finds Wanyama. Dele Alli. Son is surely there. Son forces De Gea to be startled. Martial. Over the top to Paul Pogba. He's found himself out wide in a uncharacteristic flanking position. Ericsson. Dembele. Dele Alli. Son up the line to the Welshman. And Davies goes to Dele Alli. Dembele. Dele Alli on the volley. Half volley, quarter volley, whichever one you want to take your fancy of. Mohamed Isba, we can still play with all out attack or park the bus in FIFA 17. Well, we can indeed. And I think this was the first game that Marcus Rashford had a face. I think he more than earned it. And now for one of European football's alumni, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the self-proclaimed living legend, will come on for Manchester United. He was one of the most consistent things that the Red Devils offered during this dark period. And I say dark, I mean, after all, they did pick up a UEFA League victory. Martial vaulted past Lloris. I'm getting bummed. And it's a third goal for Manchester United. Dutch Linda would love to see more PS2 football game streams. Well, we can always cover that next week. I'll put another poll up. I didn't do one this week. I didn't do a poll because I thought, well, 4 games that I wanted to stream over the couple of weeks, you guys voted for FIFA 15 and what was the other one I did last week? Wasn't it PES 2013? Yeah. And I do know that a lot of you did ask for more FIFA games, so that's what we've gone for. We'll do FIFA 17 today. When I come back on Sunday, I will do FIFA 23 with the realism mod. And then over the next week, we can have a look at some more retro PS2 football games. Well, I think I need to get the hint here. Wanyama is very, very tired. So we'll bring on Musa Sissoko. Janssen, remember him? Well, I don't, and in the past he shall remain. We'll just bring on Sissoko to freshen up that midfield. You might recall when EA did the FIFA 17 beta, there wasn't actually a trick stick. Kane! Well, he forces a slight spillage from David De Gea. Wonderful first touch from Herrera to keep the ball active. United keep coming here with a counter. Spurs aren't very strong on this game. And I'm yet to get my first goal. Dele Alli. Sissoko. Son. Kane. Can you get there ahead of Bailey? No. Good strength shown by the defender. Ibrahimovic taking the ball out wide. This round, Alderweireld. Competing with Kyle Walker. It's through to Martial. Dele Alli. Yeah, there's just not as much speed when it comes to holding the ball up and trying to dribble. This is one of the issues that PES 20 and 21 suffer from, that even with flair players, it's very, very hard to get any kind of agility out of them. Chris McGaffey says this is the FIFA that he enjoyed too. Ibrahimovic goes for a knuckleball and gets it all wrong. Dutch Linder, the difference between 16 and 17 is amazing. I mean, it really is. On paper, you would think that they're just incremental improvements over each other, but no, it's not the case. This game is a lot slower and heavier too. But I think you can pinpoint this as some of the beginnings of the troubles with passing on FIFA as well. You've probably noticed just a lot of simple passes are just extremely square and just too under hit. Martial's corner. Mata on the volley. Oh my God, he left a bend in the crossbar. It is Blind. Fellaini. Mata. That goes out wide to Martial. Walker into the centre. Vertonghen. Spurs searching for nothing more than a consolation. It's been a long game for them tonight in Manchester. Dembele. Sissoko. Kane. Dele Alli to Christian Eriksen. Down the line to Dele Alli. Now currently in Besiktas, and even then he's come under scrutiny. Sissoko looking for Son. Kane was the original target, I will admit. And now Kane surely through. Harry Kane! And there's a consolation. Deep in stoppage time. As the aeroplane spins his way to the ball. I think that hit the crossbar on the way through. Yeah, it's a violent strike. Chris McGaffey. 15, 16 or 17. Which FIFA do you all enjoy more? Well, he makes a point. It's a good question. I mean, everybody must have a favourite out of those trio of games. We finally reached full time. We're going to head to Juventus Barcelona next. That was what was nominated by Jean-Bref Cabral. George says, does anybody know how to overcome the anti-cheat obstacle on FIFA 23 on PC? He's using Windows 10. Now, what do you mean by overcome it? Are you having troubles launching the game because of anti-cheats? If so, there is a fair few handy guides, if you Google it, how to bypass anti-cheats. Sometimes it's a simple case of just setting a certain instruction in the EA app on your FIFA 23 properties. But as far as getting rid of anti-cheat once and for all, I don't think it can be done. I think that stuff is hard-coded into FIFA 23. It's it's a disappointing commentary on the route that games have taken nowadays as well. With regards to constant online connectivity, therefore being no such thing as a quick game of anything nowadays. Must connect to online, must sync with servers, must download some stuff you don't really care about. Juve Spain, you say. This was the first FIFA to not feature the new camp since probably FIFA 99, I guess. Luis Suarez is at FIFA. Not a bad Barcelona kit as well. I mean, I think it was one of my fonder FIFA kit. Well, sorry, my fonder Barcelona kits, should I say. Shall we explore some of the other weather options as well now? Now, hold on, how do we... Right, season, winter. Now, I think the fog debuted in FIFA 16, I may be wrong. But I remember it looking kind of cool on this. I think it debuted in this game, actually. Wow, young, short-haired, Moise Kean. I mean, we don't need two defenders on the bench, so we'll get rid of one. Now, I'm going to disappear whilst the match is loading quickly, just to go to the loo. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Please enjoy the pre-match cinematics, and I'll be back in 2 seconds. My bad, I didn't know that the game defaults to that stupid press start if you want to play FIFA thing. That was my fault. Halftime substitution has joined us. He says 2017 was the last El Clasico with the famous MSN, Messi, Suarez and Neymar. And Madrid were so stacked, they played with a B team on many occasions. Indeed they did. We will take a look at Real Madrid later on in the game. And even so far, just a look at the aesthetic here in the Allianz Stadium for Juventus. I mean, the lighting is near perfect. It's beautiful. Blonde Messi, who remembers this? I mean, in both 2017 and 2018, Konami started updating Messi 5 times a year. And we got Blonde Messi and Blonde Aguero. I know this is a FIFA stream, but I do want to remark about how there was that period on PES games where they started updating the player faces on a regular basis. And the problem that you had was that, you know, data pack 1, Neymar will be blonde. Data pack 2, he'll have purple hair. Data pack 3, he'll have black hair. But in real life, he would change his hair so frequently. You would ask yourself, why can't they just let you choose in the edit mode which one of those head models you want to use? The same goes for Messi, Ronaldo, and all the other star players that couldn't make up their mind. They changed their hair more often than Rey Mysterio changed his pants. And it's an interesting segue into wrestling, as ZH568 has said Royal Rumble predictions. I'm slightly out of touch with current WWE, so it's very hard to say. I don't even know who's in the Rumble. I don't know who's the champion. I'm so out of touch. If you want to very quickly outline for me who is the current heavyweight champions for both brands and who are some of the favourites in those Rumbles, then I'll give a verdict on that. And I will be flying by the seam of my pants because I'm so out of touch with the current product. I know that Cody Rhodes is returning at the Royal Rumble, I believe. Cuadrado gets a small cross into Higuain, who butchers the scissor kick. Well, that was embarrassing. Yeah, I know Cody Rhodes is probably forecast for the Royal Rumble. CM Punk is still under contract to AEW, so I don't think we'll see him anytime soon in the WWE. And there's probably less chance of that happening with Triple H in charge than there would be with Vince in charge, even though he is back on the board in some capacity. But no. But what's your predictions? You tell me. You tell me what you think will happen. I might actually go down and watch it on Sunday night at the pub or something like that. I have turned into one of those wrestling fans where I used to watch it religiously. Some of you know I used to wrestle myself. But now I'm a lapsed fan. I don't know anything about the current product, and all I can go off is my fondness for the good old days. Ben Turkic. Yeah, kind of like my fondness for the good old days of football. Sergi Roberto. Interplaying between himself and Sergio Busquets. Oh my god. Guys, you are allowed to pass to other people other than each other. Messi, back to Roberto. What a surprise. Back to Busquets. Going to have to foul him in a minute just to wake the computer up and stop them from spamming passes. And Neymar had a chance. The ball was literally in his lap. It's Cuadrado. Miralem Pjanic to Sami Khedira. He had long hair for too many years on FIFA games. EA were terrified of updating him, or they were just lazy. Messi. Well, he was silenced by Alexandro. Brazil, Argentina on that left-hand side between Juve and Barcelona. Dybala to Cuadrado, and he finds Gonzalo Higuain. Oh, and wires cross between Cuadrado and the Argentinian. It's a rematch of the 2015 Champions League final. It took place in Berlin. Other than a consolation from Alvaro Morata, it's not out of order to say it was nothing but a mere whitewash from Barcelona. Pjanic. Trying to pick out Dybala, but it's too long to stay in red. Like a book from outer space. Lucas says he was so hyped about the Frostbite engine back then, he wishes he can go back to Ignite. Well, there's nothing stopping you. FIFA 15 is the last cracked FIFA on PC, so you can always obtain an unofficial copy. If you're willing to pay the money, you can pick up FIFA 16 on PC and mod it sky high. Iniesta downline to Sergio Busquets. Alba. Iniesta collects. Here's Sergio Busquets again. Blocked. Corner kick to Barcelona. Halftime substitution. Thoughts on Arsenal versus Manchester City tonight? Now, is this an FA Cup game? I know it's FA Cup weekend here in England this weekend. So, unsurprisingly, those FA Cup games are so volatile, especially because they rotate the squads more than ever. But I think, having said that, with the hunger that Arsenal have displayed this season especially, I don't think it's an unreasonable shout to bet on them and estimate that they will probably humble Manchester City. I presume Arsenal are at home the way that you wrote it too. Iniesta galloping forward, he finds Neymar. Bonucci trying to hold him up. Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba refuses to let go of the ball, and he nearly scored the wonder goal there. Messi! Saved by Gianluigi Buffon, still currently active at 45 years young for Parma. And that's a stabbing shot for Messi. Comes to him in no time at all, and he just takes the damage and just hits it first time. It's not for nothing either. He won the corner. Cuadrado. Jordi Alba with the preemptive interception. Higuain. Dybala. Cuadrado. It's an overlap from Dani Alves against his former club, and look who it is at the far post. And he was at the mercy of the height of the cross. Neymar, Jordi Alba. Ivan Rakitic. Luis Suarez, the Uruguayan vampire. Now Lionel Messi trying to cut inside. He knows he has the Midas touch on his left-hand side. And even Lionel Messi couldn't keep it in. So, ZH58 has come back with the updates on WWE. I'm going to read this in a moment once I deal with this attack from Barcelona. Khedira, robbed by Iniesta, and this shot goes wayward. Reigns is the undisputed champion. He's facing Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Walter are all in the Rumble. Cody and Sami are fan favorites. I know Sami has, built somewhat of a cult following for himself, with the whole blood faction. I can't remember what they're called now. But, the Usos and Roman Reigns, I know there's some sort of, weird goings on. He's had his trial this week. But I just can't picture Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble. I think they will go for someone more aesthetically pleasing like Cody Rhodes. However, Seth Rollins, other than cashing in on Roman Reigns, he's never won the Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. He's never headlined a WrestleMania. Dybala takes it into touch against Iniesta, away by Cuadrado. Not a terrible amount in the way of action on this game here so far. Oh, come on. It seems to take a very long time. I'm only playing on professional difficulty, and it just seems like such a long time it takes for other players to catch up with the attack. I do want to thank those of you who have joined the stream. Messi, he was trying to pick out Neymar. Higuain. That's Mandzukic. Dybala just trying to get the ball out from under his feet. Cuadrado dispossesses the Brazilian. Neymar. Higuain! Ah! I am feeling it a little bit. I'm feeling a bit of the frustration where there's just this delay when you pass the ball to a player. It takes them a long time. you know, to wake up and realise where the ball is in regards to their feet. So as you can see, it just leads to these stifling moments where a player collects the ball and it just takes them such a long time to orient themselves. And this is what I mean about the fluidity. FIFA 17 lacks it compared to 15 and 16, where you know what you want to do and the game just overcomplicates it. Roberto gets the ball in, sent out by Bonucci. Comes out by Buffon. It's a foul for some reason, probably against Buffon there, as he came out for the desperate punch. Kedira. Dybala. Mario Mandzukic disallowed a shot and goal by Busquets. We may have to do maybe one more game, I think, and then I'll let you all get on with your Friday evenings. This is why I say, why I was grateful for you to join the stream. Denis Suarez, back to Denis Suarez again. Now, I think a lot of you wanted to see Real Madrid. So maybe we'll do another Pan-Atlantic European fixture. Real Madrid versus who? For the final game, as it's pushed aside by Buffon. Halftime substitution. The game is at the Etihad. Well, who knows? I mean, City aren't unbeatable on their own ground either. It's hard to say until I see those lineups as well. I mean, if they play a conservative side, both teams, you may as well flip a coin. But if we were to suppose that both play full-strength lineups, again, it's Manchester City, the best Premier League team that we've seen in many years. Here's Dybala. And again, I've just had no one to aim at. City, the best Premier League team we've seen in many years. I mean, there's not much reason to bet against them either, but Arsenal are this hungry new blood force in the Premier League. Luis Suarez. And it's Rafinha who passes it in to the lap of Buffon. Alves. Dybala. Higuain. Kedira out wide to Mario Mandzukic. It is Gonzalo Higuain who keeps the ball in play. Pjanic. Dani Alves. Yeah, they're so sluggish to turn. It's so hard. Any other football game, I probably could hold the ball up on the flank and, you know, play it back if I wanted to. But the game just, the players just pounce on you. It takes so long to bring the ball into touch and to sort of apply an idea that you have. And it is largely inexcusable. And Dani Alves is wiped out there by Luis Suarez, of all players, who's come back and turned to a makeshift defender. Lucas says, it's interesting that the game still tracks the actual age of players. Now, I do wonder if there is some kind of live database that continues to update, even though the servers are shut off for the game in principle. Dybala to Cuadrado. Alves, he cuts inside. It's Pjanic. Now Dani Alves. And Alves squeezing across. It's played short to Higuain. Higuain! Oh, he's fouled! How was that not a penalty? What on earth happened here? Referee! You corrupt piece of crap. Jesus Christ. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, it does look like a miss kick. But still. I think this is pre-VAR, so the referee should have bottled it and gave a penalty to Juventus in their own stadium. Suarez forces a stretch out of Buffon. Neymar, corner goes short. Here's Messi! Off the post! Back into the safe hands of Buffon. Alves. Pjanic. Now, something else I noticed is that the players, they just don't want to overlap. So you get the ball to someone and you're waiting for someone to just pass and move. And they just bloody won't. Pjanic, and here is Higuain! Takes the deflection, and Ter Stegen does react to it rather well. Lucas, you may be right. I mean, I don't know whether it's a correlation between players' birth dates and the year you're playing the game in. So you might be right. Jordi Alba, over the line to Neymar. Robbed by Pjanic. He's waiting for Higuain to get out of his way. And it's Cuadrado. Right, let's get him off the pitch. I've had enough of him. Bring on Lichtsteiner there. Bring on Moise Kean, who is only 62 overall. Hasn't quite matured by the time we get to FIFA 17. We had a nomination for AC Milan versus Real Madrid. Lichtsteiner. Keane. Wiped out by PK. No foul. I can't remember the last time I saw a foul on this. You've got to be kidding me! Keane has come on, taken 3 touches, and he's dead. Ridiculous. That's the thing where there can be a conversation for, you know, injuries, handballs on FIFA games. I mean, do they hinder more than they enhance the experience? Are they immersive or are they just incessant? Alves. No, it's Neymar, sorry. Don't know why I said Alves. Suarez, though, has the ball. As is Denis Suarez. And Chiellini, right place at the right time with an accidental interception. Now Marquisio down line to Paulo Dybala. Squares to Pjanic. Marquisio. PK goes through him. Neymar. Now Rafinha. He won't pass the ball. You know, I am interested in doing some Parsec live streaming next week and playing against some human players. I mean, I must admit, I'm growing a little tired of playing against the com on these games. So what I will do, I'll put a little post up next week, and I'll ask who's got a PC capable of running Parsec, who would like to do a live stream with me. And maybe you'll do one with more than one of you as well. That should be interesting. Khedira. Lichtsteiner. There's Pjanic. Oh, this is not fun. Nothing's happening in this game. What I will do for the final game, I am going to stick it on semi-pro just to see if it gets rid of some of this stupid nerfing you can see happening here. You know, I can only apologise. This is a crap match. Oh my god, thank god that is over. That was so bad. So, oh, go away. Yeah, so frustrating. So, let's whack the final game on semi-pro. We'll do Real Madrid. We'll play at the Bernabeu. And you say AC Milan, yes? Now, when the Milan license expired, I do believe it was maybe I think it was 2019. So I think it was FIFA 19 was the first game without AC Milan in as a licensed team. I might be wrong. However, Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale flanking Karim Benzema. James Rodriguez in the centre. So we have Alvaro Morata on the bench. Isco was the next best playmaker we had. Marcos Asensio, I don't know whether he had a face on this game. He should have done for all intents and purposes. As we touch down in Madrid for the final game of the stream, it's a shorter stream than usual. I don't want to keep you guys on here too long for a Friday night. There's always the replay. There's always more to come on Sunday evening. The Sith Avenger says, the only Frostbite FIFA game I technically have due to PS Plus is FIFA 22. Oh, well, aren't you the lucky one? Never touched 17 though. Comparing it to other Frostbite entries, how does this hold up? It's not terrible, but this is the one where, being the first Frostbite game, there was growing pains. You can see one of the main issues is with responsiveness. You pass to a player, the ball gets trapped underneath the player's body. So normally in a football match or even a football game in real life, you pass to a player, they take a touch, and the ball will always be in front of the player, so the player can take a touch and turn, pass or face wherever he needs. On this, the ball gets stuck literally underneath the player's center of gravity, which causes this almighty delay in turning and facing where you want to face. But AI isn't the greatest on this game. We saw FIFA 17 when the game would keep you on your toes at all times. Sorry, FIFA 15 last week, where the game would keep you on your toes at all times. It's not really the case on this one. Gary says artificial intelligence is to blame for, and I do agree. I think it's a little underwhelming on this one. Big Boom, you are the only guy in the world that would play this game. Really, man? Why play FIFA 17? Well, you know, you can't win every game, and you have to go back and play some of these older ones to see, you know, how far we come and see the interesting things that each individual football game applies and regresses from. Jovan89, why is the stream quality so bad? The only thing I can think of is because I'm streaming in 4K, and maybe not everyone benefits from that. So I may have to switch back to 1080p going forward. I thought it might be nice for some of you guys who have the capabilities to experience a higher quality stream. But if you're not too fussed and you don't care for 1080p or 720, I will lower the quality for the next round. Marcelo gets it in first time, looking for Modric, caught by Donnarumma. He's faceless on this game. I think he must be about 17 years old by now on FIFA 17. Suso's coming across. He evades Marcelo. It's Kuko. He goes down, penalty. Didn't take long at all. Yes, Lucas, I don't know why the bitrate is so low. I've maxed it out on Streamlabs. I'm streaming in the highest resolution, and I think it might just be the case. Again, I am streaming, and there is 42 people watching, so that might impact the quality of the stream. What a... Oh, no. Well, Navas went the right direction, nearly got something on it, but Carlos Bacca did meet the back of the net in the end. Went the right way, and perhaps if only he stays on the goal line, it may be a save successfully. It's 5 minutes played, and Milan have the lead over Real Madrid, the current champions of Europe as well at that. Here's Cristiano Ronaldo. Benzema. Kroos. Switching the play to Carvajal. Oh, Varane, you dimwit. Was looking for Gareth Bale. Modric curling into the far post, looking for Varane. It bounces just wide of the goalpost. Sash, 30. He feels like he's in 2007 again, let alone 2017. Unless it was a typo, a Freudian slip from yourself. Suso. Marcelo cuts out the Milan attacker. Here's Toni Kroos. Luka Modric to James Rodriguez. Bale. Down the line to Luka Modric, his former Tottenham clubmate. Pushed up by Romagnoli. De La Foul, former Barcelona academy player. Come to Everton. Close. Rodriguez. Ronaldo. Modric into Rodriguez. Benzema. Benzema has picked up Ronaldo! And there it is! My first goal of the night! Can you imagine? It took 4 games to get it, but can always rely on the Cristiano Ronaldo to do me the honours. Sorry, Saz, I didn't get the reference. Well, you know, the past is a strange place. Sometimes reminiscing about streaming a web video in 2007 gives you that tingly, nostalgic feeling. 1-1, 10 minutes after conceding the penalty kick, it's a reply from Real Madrid. Di Suso. He's marching forward. Will the kickoff bug be enabled? No, not as far as the Frenchman Raphael Varane is concerned. Benzema. And look at Madrid. They're pushing forward mercilessly. Bale cuts inside. He's gone down. Penalty kick. One at either end. Oh, this referee. He gets horny for the penalty spot. He is a bisexual for the penalties. Either end, either way, either side. We will see one in either net. Show me the bulge. Bulge the net. CR7. Surely you will take this for us. Cristiano Ronaldo. There's Donnarumma wearing odd shoes. Oh, and Cristiano Ronaldo with the odd accuracy. Oh, it's awful. That was ugly. A disfigured penalty kick from Cristiano Ronaldo. Hideous. And I have no clue how to take penalties on this game. This is the problem. This is the problem where they start messing around with the mechanics in every game. FIFA did it. PES started doing it. The WWE game started doing it every year. Hey, let's shake up the controls for no reason. No muscle memory allowed here. Ronaldo! Wow! Cristiano Ronaldo makes amends for the penalty miss. Everyone in the Bernabeu has forgotten already about the disgusting attempt at kicking the ball in the net from 6 yards. Ronaldo has shown off from the left boot. Look at this. He's planted it. It's a stabbing strike from range. And Donnarumma, he's a tall 19-year-old, but he requests another growth spurt from Mother Nature. Well, it's pending. You've got to put up with this for now. The God, Cristiano Ronaldo. Currently playing for his dream Saudi club, has rolled back the years here in Spain. Here we go. We're going to end the stream on a high note. It's going to be a good game. I can tell as the Chiglio has to restart with Kuchko. Scrappy affair. Wow. Lucas, that's if it was a regular YouTube upload. There would be hypercam and 4 frames per second. I think we deserve a little better than that. Di Chiglio studied all the Ronaldo tapes and has cut out those step overs. Close. Gareth Bale, he's about to appear in the US Open. What a time to be alive, where footballers are transitional athletes. Now, if you could pick one football player who, if they were to retire from football and go into the WWE, who would it be? This will be interesting. Who would go to the WWE if they retired from football tomorrow? San Marcelo. Here's Ronaldo. Read by Di Chiglio. You see, Lucas, regarding the directional arrow on oops, that one nearly went through. Regarding the directional arrow, maybe it's there as part of the FIFA trainer, but I don't think the FIFA trainer was introduced in 17. I think that comes later. Okay, I might be remembering wrong. Oh, look at this. Rodriguez has no choice but to hold up for a little longer. Waiting for the assistance of Mr. Ronald. Benzema! Oh! Well, he snatched at it. Donnarumma. Very, very grateful to see a pretty underwhelming hit from the Frenchman. Modric. Rodriguez. Ronaldo. It's on to Marcelo. First time crossing, looking for Toni Kroos. Had no hope in hell. Pulisic. Bacca. Ambitious long ball. Looking for Suso. Marcelo held his nerve. Modric. Marcelo. Cristiano Ronaldo cut out by Di Chiglio. I think both sides are settling in a little bit more now. Yeah, thanks, James. Bale. Carvajal. Floated into Benzema on the chest. He's not allowed any closer than Paletta's personal space. Locatelli. Suso. Now Baka had no options up front. Very lonely area of the pitch. Baka has won it back from Ramos, and Navas just pushes it away with anger. Once again, the question of responsiveness comes into play here as, you know, I'm hammering square like a freaking meth addict trying to clear this ball, and the game won't allow it. Ramos cleared. Oh, it's just tipped away by Navas. Sorry. Ooh. He needed every ounce of energy he could muster from that hit. Keylor Navas. Suso plays it in short. The franticality is increased by 10. Oh, Navas. Something he didn't like about that. He reverted back to his fetal days. It's like a baby trying to make a save. It works though. Carvajal. Bale. Slams on the brakes. Back to the Spaniard. And back to the Welshman. Romagnoli takes something with him. There the foul. Romagnoli. Kuchko. We've got 4 minutes left of the half to play. Suso. Pasalic. Oh, Baka is through, and he took too long. You fool. Still Ronaldo. Can't stay on his feet. Even though he is arguably one of the strongest players on the pitch. The Vanga. Can you imagine Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the WWE? I can. I actually can. That's actually a really good nomination because the guy has the charisma to do it. He has the charisma, he has the character, he has the ego to, you know, just chat nonsense about himself, to chat bare breeze. Diego Costa. I don't know where he would fit. That's an unusual one. Adama Traore and Lukaku would be good shouts. I think Lukaku would probably be a slower wrestler than Nia Jax, but Adama Traore, I can absolutely see adapting. Maybe him and Zlatan Ibrahimovic could be a tag team because Ibrahimovic has the charisma and Adama Traore has the body and the athleticism to pull it off. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo, I think once he reaches his 40s, he probably could be in with a good shout as a viable draw in the WWE. He is the most famous footballer on the planet. I don't think you can argue with that. I know Lionel Messi is the best player in the world, but Cristiano Ronaldo is the most famous player in the world. You could upload a YouTube video of you farting, and you can just name the title Cristiano Ronaldo, and it will get 1 million views. That is the influence of this man on this planet. No matter what he does, people capitalize on it, they exploit it for engagement, and they get their views. I should just name this game Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, sorry, I should name the stream Cristiano Ronaldo. And I guarantee you there will be 1,000 viewers in this chat. I mean, I'm being facetious, of course. Well, speaking of the man himself, he has earned a little bit of an infringement. Pepe, not only would Pepe make a great wrestler, he would make a great heel. He would make an excellent bad guy. He would be such a slimy toad. He would be such a piece of work. Ronaldo, trademark knuckleball, it gets through the wall. So it kind of counts as on target, but we all know. Oh, Kuko, what are you doing? Yeah, halftime substitution. Pepe would be a fun shout for the WWE. I would love to see him more. I would love to see more famous high-profile footballers who don't need to earn money and you just come into the WWE. They do the odd show at WrestleMania or a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view and just hang out. But everyone's at it now. Bad Bunny does it. Logan Paul is there. I think one day we might see KSI in a WWE ring. But more footballers, please. More celebrities. Why can't the actor who plays Thor be in the WWE? What about Tom Holland in the WWE? Tom Holland versus Rey Mysterio. Book it. Book it, Paul Levesque. Or Paul Levesque, should I say. Here's Ronaldo. Oh my god, look at Ronaldo go! Searching cross, looking for Gareth Bale! How did this stream turn into WWE fantasy booking? I mean, people who have no credentials in boxing, they have boxing matches on pay-per-view and they make a lot of money. I would much rather see more celebrities who are crap wrestlers appear in the ring. Why not? Anyway, here comes another counter from Madrid. It's pretty much end-to-end here. Suso and Kuko. Back up. Nearly made it through. I'll have a look on the AC Milan bench and see who we have to choose from. James Rodriguez. Down the line to Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo squeezes in a cross. Yes, Gary, now that you mention it, you can press R3 to trigger the directional arrows or the FIFA trainer. Now, Kisuke Honda is on the bench. He was one of my favourites as far as a powerful shot taker from range. Lapadula and the Campos. It's not AC Milan's greatest era. We'll say that. We'll say that much. The Sith Avenger. Personally, my favourite penalty system was the one introduced from World Cup 2010. The one with the needle bar. The one that took into the context of the timing of the match. You know, if it's the first penalty of the game, the first goal potentially scored of the game, the meter would be erratic and your controller will vibrate like an earthquake in San Francisco. And you really did feel a little bit of pressure taking penalties in 2010. If you was 3 goals up and you had a penalty, your green area would be much wider because there was less pressure. And there was less, expectation or damage if you missed your penalty. I think that was a good system. I think that's probably the fairest one you can come up with. I do like a good old-fashioned one of just simply, look, let me choose where I want to put it. Whatever. But I think 2010 does come close as being a very good penalty system, but every year they keep reinventing it. And I remember on FIFA 22 you had that stupid run-up system which was just needlessly complicated and just led to so many sort of misfired penalties because you thought, well, what am I doing here? Might as well take the penalty like this, to a crap position where your hands or something. It's just not natural. The good old PlayStation 2 PES games, they had the old-fashioned random system where, okay, aim in a direction and we will decide how much power you put in it. It's a delicate balance getting penalty kicks right in football games because you want the player to have control, but you don't want the player to never miss the target either. Because if you give players complete control, then you will always safely place it on target. And I guess that's not fun for anyone. But you have to justify making someone overhit a penalty. And that's really hard to interpret in the football game. Bangioni can't get around Bale. Well, he's getting another chance here. Next to nothing's happening in this game now. We will make this the last game. We'll do a quick little calm down. And then I will vanish into the night. Benzema. There's a blocked away. Romagnoli. Isco trying to knock it down to the Frenchman. Not long left to go. 15 minutes remaining of the game. That equates to around 7 minutes in real time. Pasalic. Found Bangioni. So, I mean, it just takes so long to face the direction you want to face. Baka. Kuko. Here's Honda. Honda! Read by Marcelo. Locatelli. Bangioni. Crossed in by Delflu. Underwhelming. Next to no drama in this one. Halftime substitution says that Tom Hardy showcases in-ring abilities in Warrior. Now, my memory recall is not the best. I don't know whether Warrior was an MMA film, you know, a film about cage fighting, or, you know, professional wrestling. However, you know, during the 2010s and, you know, the early 2020s, you know, there was a big boom of MMA style films and MMA style action movies. There was one that featured Kurt Angle. There was one that was a biopic on Jose Aldo. Ooh, that was close. I'm trying to think of other MMA films. I'm sure there's loads with like generic action titles, but Warrior is a good shout. It's there somewhere in my memory, but I believe it was a cage fighting film, an MMA film, rather than a professional wrestling movie. However, while we're on the conversation of professional wrestling, why not tell me some of your favorite wrestling movies or movies that have wrestling in it? Remember, Randy Savage, he appeared in the first Spider-Man movie in 2002 as Bonesaw. So I wonder how many of you were aware of that piece of trivia. Corner goes through everyone. 5 minutes left. There's a weird sweat effect on Gareth Bale's face. You could call it a perk of Frostbite, but I don't know. It looks like he's been wandering in a desert for 4 days. Yashin Bereski, Manchester City versus Paris Saint-Germain next. Well, what I might do a con v con match. Because I've had about as much as I can stomach of playing this game, but we'll whack one on legendary difficulty as a con v con match, and I'll just chat and hang out with you guys on live chat as Honda! Oh, nearly squeezed it in out of nowhere. Shall we do that? Shall we do a City versus Paris Saint-Germain as the swan song to tonight's stream? And I'll just chill out with you guys. Nas the Pets Gamer has finally joined the stream. Hallelujah. It's good to see you, Nas. Now, can you rap as well as the boy from the Bronx? That's the question. One of my favorite Nas, one of my favorite rappers, by the way. So I can't help but slip that little reference in. Now I wonder what was the reasoning between you calling yourself Nas. Was it a homage to the real Nas? Are you a fan of Little Nas X? Modric! Swatted away by Donnarumma in FIFA 07 style. Recif Avenger, finally! No, sorry, he doesn't say finally. He says, also, PES 5, winning 11-9 where I'm at. So I take it you're from the United States or Japan. Was my first PES and I'm still happy to own it. Well, I think you can't start on the better PES game if that's your first. And it kind of makes it harder to go back to PES games before it. PES 5 wasn't my first PES game, but it was certainly my favorite. And it still is. You know, I was into football around 2 years by the point PES 5 came out. And it really did feel like such a massive, massive release for the time period. It was a magnus opus, and I think it was the best PES game ever made. And you're turning me on. I might stream it next week, if you like. So anyway, Milan and Madrid will walk back to the showers in shame for such a dreadful match. But we'll do a con v con match. We'll whack it on top play on Legends. I think is the highest difficulty on this game. And maybe we'll go back to England. We'll go in the Etihad. Manchester City versus Paris Saint-Germain. Around about this time, both teams were being funded and spoilt by Arab tycoons. So we do have a fair amount of star-studded personnel on both sides of the field. I will start it. I'll hit play so we can see the intros. I'm going to disappear for another leak, and then I'll return to react to your live chats and to just talk to you people. Bye for now. Ugh. And we are back, FIFA fans. Thank you for being patient whilst I disappeared and, you know, ran a small bath in my toilet bowl. It just wouldn't stop. But I'm back. And we'll quickly catch up on what some of you guys are saying. There is 38 of you online, which is really, really impressive. I'm so grateful that you would all, you know, take the time to hang out with moi live as we overlook FIFA 17. Edson Cavani has just joined Paris Saint-Germain by this point. Neymar still stuck in Barcelona hell. I didn't catch the City lineup, although I want to believe Yaya Toure is still there, but he may have retired by this point too. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Still here. A Wild Vincent Company is still there though. So, nonetheless, the Sith Avenger, you are from the United States. So, what time is it over there? It must be around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Am I right? Maybe 1 o'clock even. Max Charles, do you follow the Brazilian Championship? If yes, who is your favourite player and team? Send a hug to Brazil. Well, the best I can do is I'll just I'll hug myself for you. I don't, I'm afraid. It's very hard to catch Brazilian football, even with the advent of the internet and social media. It's quite tricky. You have to be quite enthusiastic to follow a league in another country outside of Europe. But my favourite team always used to be International or Internacional. But I started liking them around the PES 2011 era when they were a demo. They were a team on the demo of PES 2011, and they had D'Alessandro and Leandro Damião on the team. Oscar shortly came up. So not for any deep reason, but I just enjoyed playing as them on PES games. So I always liked them. I like red. So I was a fan of the kits. Especially in the Brazilian league, how more often than not, the teams wear some sort of variant of black and white or black or white. So there's not a lot of colour in terms of strips in the Brazilian Serie A. So International wearing red shirts, that drew my attention to them. They have a beautiful stadium they play in. And although now most Brazilian stadiums are quite modern and futuristic and they're gorgeous, but no, if I had to pick one, it would be International. Now, Giata040, what is your favourite football game? Well, you probably tuned in just a few seconds late, but I did name drop Pro Evolution Soccer 5 as my favourite football game of all time. I mean, I was fond of this game when it released. When it came out, it was the most realistic football game of the time. And Konami went all out on all fronts, not just in Master League mode, but also on the pitch. Also the edit mode as well, encompassing lots of realistic kit templates so you could replicate real team strips at the time. Beautiful soundtrack, one of the last PES games to have an in-house produced soundtrack before they started moving on to licensed songs with vocals. And also to this day it's kept alive on the PC through the original season patch by Fabry as well as a couple of others. But it will always have a place in my heart. But I like lots of football games. It's not just PES 5. I love lots of football games, and that's what keeps my love strong for the genre, because if you ever get a bit too fatigued or a bit overexposed to one game, you can just plug in another one and it's fresh again, and you never see the same thing twice on 2 football games in a row. So I like many. I think maybe PES 2017 is a second. That game had some of the most incredible AI I've ever seen in a football game. And it says something, because AI is very, very difficult to replicate in the football game, to make it balanced, to make it stimulating and challenging. To make them keep you surprised and on your toes at all times. To not make them predictable, whilst not making them cheap and cheaty. It's really, really hard. But I think 2017 had the best balance in that regard. The Sith let me just backtrack to what the Sith Avenger said. So he says, I'd be down for a PES 5 stream, not gonna lie. I happened to stumble across it in the store I was at, and I wanted to give it a shot. That was when I had FIFA 05 and 06. So back then, I was starting to get into football in general. It felt very different, but I really enjoyed the atmosphere, and I didn't think much about the unlicensed teams. Well, I'll start on the latter point. It's not the magic of football games that licenses shouldn't be the be-all and end-all, should they? I mean, of course, they help a lot when it comes to marketing and the commercial and cosmetic appeal of a game, but what use is licenses if your game doesn't play very well? there are several mobile football games now, such as Dream League Soccer. There's a couple of other names I forget, but there are many football games on smartphones that have a few licensed teams, yet you couldn't care less about playing them. And ultimately, people, they play football games nowadays to, partake in some sort of Ultimate Team or My Club style spin-off, where the objective is to form a dream team. So licenses are more redundant than ever. So having said that, if more developers spent less money on licensing someone, like that new game from Strikers, I think it's called Goals, where they must have spent a fortune, and so many developers must have sold their houses to pay for Cristiano Ronaldo to endorse the game in a trailer and to get the licenses for West Ham and I think Lazio and Roma. And what use is it if no other teams are licensed? You may as well just have fake teams across the board, spend all your money on better technology and better development, and recruiting better developers. We all know, we all grew up with PES, who the licensed teams and the aesthetics wasn't very important. It was the immersion on the pitch, and that's why these games hold up so well to this day. So I went on a tangent, Sif. I'm sorry, but yes, I mean, PES 5 was a fantastic game and a great gateway into simulative football gaming. I will do a PES 5 stream next week. I think it's decided. I will do one. And it's got to be more entertaining than this one tonight has been. I do apologise, but not every game can be a barn burner. Nas the PES Gamer says that Nas is shortened from your first name. So what is your first name? So we can all steal your data. And we can all swatch you. Is it Nazir? Nazim asks, do I know anything about Algerian football? I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. I don't. But what can you tell me about Algerian football? If there was one, undisputed fact you want to tell me about Algerian football, about an Algerian team, or even about an Algerian player who you think would be the one to watch, who would you say? What could you tell me in one sentence about Algerian football and why we should watch it? So that's an interesting comment left by you, Nazim. Max Charles, do you think that if Konami continued with the same footprint of PES 2013 in 14 today, the franchise would be better than FIFA? That's a really interesting question, and I think it comes down to revisionist history, because around about the time of PES 2013 and PES 14, there was still an interest in realistic football games and simulation gameplay. That was still the trend back then. Ultimate Team and My Club was nowhere near as aggressive. Aguero is offside. Ultimate Team and My Club was nowhere near as aggressive as it is now. So the focus was still more on balance than realistic and, rewarding and consequential gameplay. I do wonder, the only reason it is the way it is now is because they went in that direction and everybody accepted it. I also think if you stayed with realistic football games, the majority would have embraced it and would say, yeah, these games are great. I like this style of gameplay. I prefer realism. I think people would still endorse it and would still happily accept it. The only reason it doesn't now is because you have the advent of streamers and, younger gamers and younger streamers, and they're less immature and have a smaller understanding of the fundamentals of football, and they don't care for what's realistic, and they don't care about what makes sense. They want their players to do whatever they want them to do, regardless of whether the player deserves to do it. So that's why you get the skating you see in FIFA now. That's why you get the explicit dodginess you get in eFootball, where players are moving out the way of things that they, have every right to intercept. Why goalkeepers are crap. Why shots seem to make no sense and they go into the top corner. You can blame people who just want to spray a ball around the pitch after work, and they don't want to think too much about what they play. You can blame that on the direction for it's gone in. It's addictive. It's fast. It's exhilarating. So that's what encourages players to have a buzz and get that fix and be like, oh, just one more game. I'll buy one more pack. I'll buy a better player. I'll be a better team. That's what's created that culture. But I think if you stayed with realistic gameplay, I think people would still find it just as challenging. It's just that the world has changed. So, long-winded answer, Max, but I hope my opinion gave you a bit of insight. The Sith Avenger says, it's alright! He really enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the importance of licensing and marketing and the gameplay. If I'm having fun with the game as a whole, that's what matters to me. And, alas, that's what should be said for gaming in general, not just football games. The most important thing is the pleasure the gamer experiences on the whole with what they're playing. And I don't want to swear, but, my barometer was always, if a game is making you go, oh, for F's sake, oh, for God's sake, every 5 seconds, then it's not a good game. A game that makes you go, whoa, that was so close. Oh, that was so exciting. That's a good game. That's a game that makes you enjoy the experience regardless of whether, it benefits you or not. That's magic. That's lightning in the bottle. But unfortunately, the direction that most game developers go in is they want to thrill you all the time. Regardless of whether it makes sense, there's no consequence to being bad in the game anymore. And then what happens is that it ends up being soulless and you don't have to put much effort into what you're playing. It's not challenging. It's like walking into a nightclub. I don't know how old you are, Avenger, if you're old enough to drink and if you're old enough to go out clubbing. But it's like if you were single and you went out into a nightclub and the second you walk through the door, 5 hot chicks throw themselves at you and they say, I'm coming home with you tonight, player. Would that really be satisfying? Is the fun not in the chase of trying to pull a woman, trying to get a girl to like you and, the slow build over the course of an evening, buying them drinks, dancing with them, having your first kiss with them, going home with them. That's the fun. That's what makes it rewarding. When you play games that do everything for you and nothing matters but the ball will end up in the back of the net, it's just so deflating. About as deflating as Sterling's miss. Even the calm plays like fools on legendary difficulty on this game. Worms is here live. Worms from Portugal. He's one of our Portuguese long-time fans. I am very good. It's Friday. I'm happy. How are you? How was your week? Are you looking forward to your weekend? What do you have planned, Mr. Worms? Osman Deritas, hello to you too. Where are you from? Your surname gives me Eastern European or Turkish vibes, but do elaborate. Nazim, Algerian football. Right, here we go. So Nazim's selling points on Algerian football. Algerian football is quite improving recently, with the leagues getting far in the African Champions League. That's very interesting. Well done. Two Algerian teams got to the quarterfinals of the African Champions League this season. Well, this is what you want. I mean, every team has a goal. And I think the same can be said for even in European football and Champions League football, that, you know, you get the same names and the same teams that get to the same stages of every competition. And more so in the World Cup recently. It's usually European teams that end up in the final 8 and even the final 4. And it's just so refreshing to see that growth in teams that are outside of that exclusive bracket of, elite football. So to see an African team in the World Cup semi-final for the first time, it was exciting and it was really humbling. So I think, more to your point, to see Algerian football teams reach the Champions League final in your continent, I think that's a credit to them. So, Nazim, what countries usually reach the African Champions League, closing stages? Let me know. I am interested. I'm so uneducated about African football. It would be interesting to know from your perspective. With Adventure, I don't mind if a game is a simulation based on slightly more arcade-like, if as a whole it's still a great game. The first two Mario Strikers as an alternative example are so fun. And yay, we finally get a goal. I'm sorry to cut you off there mid-thought, but Javier Pastore has finally broken the deadlock with 15 minutes to go. It's a nice little turn from Angel Di Maria. And the Argentinians link up so that Javier can blast it in to the back of, I think it's Caballero's net, actually. It's not Joe Hart at this point in time. But to backtrack to your point that you made, Mr. Avenger. You are right. I mean, a delicate balance should be made between simulation and arcade at the end of the day. Because you can't make a football game that only appeases to one demographic. Because then, as a business, you lose out on potential sales and a potential consumer base to... oh, nice shot there. I think that was Aguero. You know, you risk cutting out an important part of your market. If you go, well, you know, people who like casual and arcade games, you're not important. We're not who we consider. We're going in this direction. You want to make as much money as you can, and you want to appeal to as many demographics as you can, simulation and arcade players. And to do so, you have to strike an important balance. And I can accept that. I'm not that much of an anal connoisseur that I want a purely simulation game. I can understand the benefits of making something slightly fun and slightly casual. I think the trouble is when you go too far in one direction. So on the one hand, nearly not down to, I think it was Rabiot there. On one hand, you have, PES 5, which we discussed earlier, which is a game with a steep learning curve. More, contemporarily, FIFA 23, which is an arcade game where it doesn't matter how you receive the ball, it doesn't matter how long you're holding down sprint. The game just lets players run around endlessly. It makes everyone run out of the way so that you're allowed clear chances and goals so you can score a fun goal. It wants players to have that reward of, I scored a goal, I'm good at this game. The problem is that it's unfulfilling. But what do you want? Do you want Rocket League football or do you want Gran Turismo football? You can't have one or the other. I think you always have to strike a delicate balance between the two. And that's why the most revered football games such as PES 5, FIFA 16, PES 2017, they strike that important balance. And I think that's always the way that it is. Even if your graphics are realistic. But going back to your point as well, there is room for explicitly arcade games like Mario Strikers. There has to be a gateway for some players who don't care about real football, but they just want to play a casual game. I'm not a big tennis fan, but I love playing virtual tennis because it's a game where I don't have to worry too much about the physics of, what kind of shot I'm taking. All I have to do is just get my character onto the left or right side of the court and, hit a strike back. Nazim, the South African, Moroccan and Tunisian teams are the ones that usually get to the final of the African Champions League. Now, I'm also not an expert in some of those teams. Now, the only South African team I could name are the Kaizer Chiefs. They share a name with the famous indie band of the same name, who I think took the name from the football team. South African football, what I can tell you is that during the mid-90s, they were one of those teams that, hold the fort here, Lucas is through. South Africa, the Bafana of the mid-90s South Africa, were a very exciting and very flamboyant international team. They famously beat Brazil in, I think it was the Umbro Cup. But don't hold me to that. But I know that there was a famous cup final that they played Brazil in, and they beat them 3-2. The Kaizer Chiefs as well. There's some really interesting clips on YouTube of the Kaizer Chiefs in the early 2000s playing teams like Tottenham in pre-season friendly tournaments. And if you thought that Brazil played Joga Bonito and, flamboyant samba-style football, then the Kaizer Chiefs, took that to the nines and they played this really, this really stylish brand of football where it was all about tricks and skills and being elegant on the ball and showing off. And some may consider it disrespectful, but from an entertainment standpoint, it was mesmerizing to watch. And in an alternative universe, South Africa, who have one of the best rugby teams in the world, why can't they translate it to football? That's what I'm interested in. And the same with Africa. They get pillaged every year. And many African players end up playing for other countries, such as France, and such as the Netherlands, and even Germany. And of course, European teams benefit greatly from African talent. Why aren't African teams doing better than what they are currently? It's the age-old question. Yeah, it's been an interesting conversation, Nazim. Do tell me who some of those names are that get to those latter stages of your Champions League. Naz the Gamer, he says, he loves the way I talk and express myself. I'm very interesting to listen to. Well, thank you. I do try. I have to remember that not everyone is a native English speaker, so I have to remind myself to speak as clearly and as slowly as I can. Not to be patronizing or offensive or condescending, but I just have to remember that if English isn't your first language, and if I talk a million miles per hour, you're not going to understand what I'm saying, and you're not going to benefit from this interaction that we have. But what I do plan to do next week, and we'll end the gameplay there. Let me just quickly play some music in the background. What I'd like to do was, going forward, I would like to do some streams, like I mentioned earlier, playing with some of you guys on stream via Parsec or something similar. I think that'll be really fun and that'll be really intimate to get to play with some of you viewers in a more personal aspect. But if I could do something like either on YouTube or on Instagram or something along those lines where I actually share my screen with you guys, and we'll do like some actual, live stream hangouts where your screen's on one side, my screen's on the other, and it's like, hey, introduce yourself. Let's have a conversation in real time. I think that would be pretty fun, and that would be pretty cool. And I want to try and do that next week with you guys, in between. So if you could follow me on Insta, I will drop it in the live chat below, if you bear with me. So those of you that are here and are interacting with me, I know some of you do follow me on Insta. And the link is in the description too. But if you can't reach it, I'll just drop it in the chat quickly. You can follow me. And what I want to do next week at some point is just do some live streams, just hanging out with you guys on the chats on Insta live. Bear with me 1 second. Just need to find my link because I don't even know what my my handle is. Okay, so it's coming up now. Follow me on that link on Insta below. I have some other links in the description. It would be greatly appreciated if you follow me on the other ones such as TikTok and Twitter and even my Spotify as I make music too. It would be nice to do some stuff with you guys on a more interactive basis going forward. Naz also says, I used to be a FIFA fan for all of my childhood. Around 3 years ago, I started to delve into the world of PES by playing PES 2018, and I loved how the teams actually play with tactics, unlike FIFA. Well, I think this is one of those things that caused what's the word? A turnover. I think that's one of those things that caused a turnover between FIFA and PES fans where, you know, after a while, everything has a shelf life. And you may have played FIFA since FIFA 12. And after a while, you get used to the same old formula and the same old visuals. And you just need a palette cleanser. And you come over to PES and you see that the game is a little bit more tactically involving and rewards you for, you know, your vision and your interpretation on the pitch of what unfolds in front of you. So I think that's one of those things that has kept a lot of converts to stay for the long run. And also it conversely works for PES fans as well. There's been players who have played PES religiously for many years, and maybe they want something a little bit more casual and they go to FIFA. Nazim says Algerian teams went on a huge downhill until the last season, where we got back to the top 4 of the continent. Well, that's interesting because football is always swings and roundabouts. Nobody can stay on top forever, and nobody can stay at the bottom forever either. Smaller teams come up and they emerge as strong contenders. You look at Atalanta in Serie A, you know, who for many years made up the numbers, and now they're one of the strongest challengers in the Italian league. Leicester City recently. Arsenal have finally come back to the top, so did Liverpool a couple of years ago. So on and so on. Emmanuel Ibukan, love from Nigeria. African football is developing, but Europeans always think they have the best leagues in the world. Well, I think globally football is becoming more volatile now. And even though it does have its faults, FIFA wanting to expand the Club World Cup and make it more of a prestigious tournament by involving more teams, I think there's probably a chance that you will see teams from other parts of the world do well in competitions like this. Whether it will get as much attention as it deserves, that remains to be seen. I hope so. It would be nice for an international Champions League style competition. We can fancy book, and it would be nice. But I still think we have a long ways to go. But however, football is changing. Football is becoming more uniform than ever. So players are more utility players than they ever were. Which means there's less individuality now and more knowledge shared amongst the globe than ever before. Which only means that teams can only get stronger. Halftime substitution. Do you think the future plans of FIFA to expand? So, you know, I preempted this comment here. Do you think that the future FIFA plans to expand the Club World Cup to 32 teams will actually benefit other confederations? Or is it just another money-grabbing scheme by FIFA? Well, halftime substitution? I think it's both. I think it is both. I do think that there is a good intention to give more teams more of a chance to be inclusive and to participate in a similar way to the Nations League was, which that was devised to enable smaller European teams to compete in their own exclusive divisions. You know, you have Division A, B, C, D, and it gives them a chance to enjoy some glory rather than getting swatted by stronger teams. However, you can't do it for no reason at all, and money is the main motivator for anything that happens in the world. And the same goes for football. And they invent leagues and they expand competitions purely for the benefits of selling broadcasting rights to other holders so they can sell more games. There's no reason why the World Cup needs to be expanded to 48 teams. I shudder at the thought. The same for the Euros as well every year. And I'm so sad at what is going to happen to the Champions League. We're ditching the traditional format and going into some other nonsense two-league massive mess. But it's done for money. So sometimes there's a theory that it benefits teams and nations, and there is that chance, and you hope that it does enforce some kind of good. But no, it's democracy and it's business at the end of the day, and until the world ends and money no longer becomes a commodity, that's how it will always be. Without Casablanca, a Moroccan team is the best club in Africa right now. I mean, that's a cool name as well. Casablanca, sharing a name with the 1930s movie of the same name. Frankly, there, I cannot give a damn, was the famous slur at the end of the film. George Lorenzo. Unfortunately, we are ending. We started at 5 o'clock. You can catch the replay as well, which will be live the second I click the red button on this stream. David of Portugal, he's waiting for the next tournament, which will be the Champions League knockout stages that will commence in just a couple of weeks' time. And we have a couple of nominations for some FIFA games to stream next week, which I will do FIFA 23 next week. I'll explore the realism mod, which is a controversial paid-for mod, but it's very, very vast. And there was also a gameplay mod on top of that, which we will explore. And hopefully we can demonstrate some differences in FIFA 23 outside of the vanilla box, should I say. Thank you, Naz, for your generous contribution. That's I really am grateful. I appreciate that so much, because he didn't have to. I mean, all I ask is that people just support me on my other social medias. That's more than I can ask for. So to do what you did, it's really humbling, and I want to thank you ever so much. So having said that, if you haven't already, just it will take you 2 seconds. Just jump onto my description, and just if you could please follow those social media links listed in there. That will help me tremendously to help me grow on some of those other platforms. And it doesn't cost you a thing. It doesn't cost you anything, Naz, to do that. So likewise, for some of you other viewers, if you can do that, I will blow kisses and I will give many blow jobs the next time I see you all in person. Or I'll just get, my mum to give you blow jobs as well instead, if that appeals to you instead. Nonetheless, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was an unorthodox time. I wanted to experiment with a 5 o'clock stream, and I hope you enjoyed what we did so far. There will be some better streams next week and some more experimental ideas coming. Wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, have an excellent weekend, and hopefully an unforgettable one too. And I will see you next week live here, same place, slightly different time, but we will